Hi there everyone, welcome to this week's garden update from my summer cottage garden here in New South Wales, Australia. It's been raining on and off again for another week. It must be about 5 or 6 weeks in a row now, which is wonderful when you look back at a couple of years ago and we were in drought and I was just wishing we'd get some water from the sky, and now it's just pouring down. It's amazing. And guess who is loving it? All the plants. And me too, because I've hardly had to water. It's really saved me so much time. Anyway, let's go and take a look around. I'm starting off this week down here in the fan garden where I have a lot of cut flowers. You can see where the girls are. There's a lot more colour compared to last week. I've got more blooms of zinnias, celosia and cosmos. There was a few bare spots in here, so I filled them up with more seedlings because I really want this area to be absolutely packed, chocker blocked with blooms. So down here under the protective tray I have a couple of Rebecca's. They're a little bit hard to spot because there are heaps of weeds around them, and believe it or not, I have done quite a lot of weeding in this area during the week, but the weeds just keep on coming. I just blink and there's more of them. Like, they're constantly popping up everywhere, and it is a continuous job to do now over the next few weeks. But the great thing about packing plants in is that eventually these plants will fill up all the space, blocking out the light for any little seedlings that are lying underneath. So hopefully in a few weeks' time the weeding won't be such a huge garden job. What I mean by packing them in is pretty much placing the plants closer together than what is recommended on the seed pack or the label. A lot of people who have a cottage garden do tend to not worry so much about plant spacing, because this crowding of plants together where they tend to intermingle, ramble about, creates a more informal look, which is a key feature of a cottage garden. Now, having said all of that, there are a lot of articles out there listing the disadvantages of planting closer than the recommended spacing. I think it might be worth giving some of those articles a read, because some of the points they make are very valid. Like, for example, flowers, let's just say, a flowering plant, if you put them too close together, there's more competition there for the nutrients in the soil, and it can lead to smaller blooms. So that could be more work for you as a gardener, because you may have to do weekly fertilizer feeds to make sure that they're receiving everything they require. Another disadvantage may be that these plants receive less airflow because there's just so much foliage right up close to each other, and the decrease in airflow could mean that there's an increase in disease like fungal diseases or even pest damage. Sure, look, everyone has their own gardening style. I don't think there's any rigid rules out there. You just do what works for you. It's getting really windy here. I can see dark clouds. I think there's another storm coming. It looks like the girls are eating some weeds. Oh my goodness, don't squash my celosia. Hop off. Hop off. Plants are pretty tough. I reckon that plant will bounce back. See? There you go. She'll be grand. Just a little bit lopsided. I'll fix it up and it's fine. There you go. I don't think Rainbow really cares that she just stood on one of my plants. Do you, girl? Nah, she's just interested in her next little treat, what insect she can find or grub she can dig out of the ground. While this area is filling out well, down here is looking slightly more sparse, but there are plenty of plants in this spot. I transferred a bunch of these bunny tail seedlings which were growing out in the front garden and popped them in here, and then beside them are a bunch of snapdragons, feverview and black-eyed Susan plants. They're teeny tiny at the moment, but they have lots of time to get bigger because our growing season here in this part of New South Wales is extremely long. We experience hot weather well into the end of autumn. Like, I've sown a heap more seeds, including zinnias, which have months of growing time ahead of them. Okay, so let me show you what I've popped in here. So I have these 3 beds that are newly filled up since last week, and then if you spin around this way you can see I have another 3 beds full up with soil. The 4th one there has been assembled, but it still needs to be filled, and I am putting another one beside it, getting rid of this. I will quickly show you what I've put in. So in this bed at the back row I have some more tomato plants, 3 different varieties here: Antarubi's green, Juan Flamme, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Brandywine pink. And then at the front I have a golden nugget pumpkin and a couple of delicanti squash in there. I just popped the 2 of them in. I probably will take one out because pumpkins and squash take up such a large space. I really don't think there's enough room for 2 of them here in this part of the bed. And of course they won't stay limited to this space, they will flow over. I have to clear this area, and I'm planning on just letting them ramble around this section. Here's a little tip for any of you new gardeners out there who are a bit short on space. I know you're probably aware that there are some edible crops that you can grow vertically. The most common ones, I guess, would be beans and peas. But did you know you can also do the same thing with smaller size varieties of, say, melons, watermelons, cucumbers, squash, you name it, pumpkins even. Like this tiger melon will grow well up a trellis. The only thing you need to watch out for with melons is that when they're ripe they do tend to slip off the vine, so you will need to support them once they come to the end of their growing cycle. In the bed beside that I have a couple more tomato plants. These are little currant tomatoes. There's orange and yellow. Here is a zucchini, all green bush zucchini. And then in this bed I was going to put corn in, but I changed my mind. So I have flowers. I have some purple straw flowers, a row of them, black-eyed Susan along here, and the front row is some globe amaranth. These ones are orange. And then for a bit of height at the back in here I have a few Jerusalem artichokes. You know what, I'm just going to dig one of these out to show you if I can find it under here. Oh yep, there it is. So my friend, here we go, gave me these Jerusalem artichokes. Wow, can't believe there's roots. I only put these in a few days ago. I honestly thought when I would take this out that I wouldn't really see any growth at all. Now I'm feeling a little bit bad. Look at that, they've got shoots coming up. Did you know that Jerusalem artichokes are a species of sunflowers? The growing season of these are quite long, taking approximately 20 weeks. The tubers multiply underground, and it's this which we eat. I'm feeling a bit bad now taking this out. I'm going to pop it back in the ground. So 20 weeks from now will be the 28th of April. I did check that online. I didn't just figure it out there in my head. I'm not a maths whiz. So that here is heading towards the end of autumn. But the lovely thing about Jerusalem artichokes is while the tubers are multiplying, growing under the ground, we get to enjoy some beautiful blooms that will reach quite a height, 2 meters, maybe even more than that. Over in this bed there is this purple sweet potato, a tomato variety called Giant Tree. There's also a couple of hill country red okra. In this bed there's some overwintered capsicums, and then over here it's jam-packed with chilies and capsicums. I actually put 6 in there. It's very squashed, probably should only really put 4, but you know, I am growing a lot of different varieties, so I just really need to fit them in. And then this one hasn't been planted out yet. I'll probably put some eggplants in this bed. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end. I hope you enjoyed this week's garden update. And don't forget, if you're new to my channel, I would love if you would support me by subscribing, liking and sharing this video maybe. I post every Friday, and we are coming into summer now, so there's lots of fun things to show you in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching. See you soon, guys.